Real life, real topics. Welcome again to Cayman Conversations, now streaming on Cayman Times Facebook and YouTube channels, and also live on Bobo FM 89.1. If you'd like to appear on the Cayman Conversations broadcast, email me at ralph at caymantimes.ky or just call me at 916-2000. Today, in our first conversation, we are joined by Mr. Cranston Forbes, who speaks about his recent musical achievement and the Jubilate After School program. Following that conversation, we'll introduce our second guest. He'll be Mr. Craig Frederick from Swank International. Now, let's get started with Mr. Cranston from Jubilate. Mr. Forbes is a
Hi,
Cayman.
thank you for having us. Indeed, it's a pleasure to be here and to talk about not just the research, but how meaningful the research has been in helping our young students learning to play an instrument here in the Cayman Islands, and to see the enthusiasm as they learn each time they accomplish a goal or accomplish learning a new piece that would sometimes seem a daunting one for them. I thank you very much for having us.
Okay. Well, tell me about yourself before we get into our conversation.
Okay, well, Cranston Forbes. I've been here for the past 9 years, and I've been teaching music, not just in the after school program, but I've been teaching music in the private schools here on Ireland. So when I first came, I was at Grace Christian Academy. Then I joined Jubilate Orchestra, and then I'm at Grace a Truth for Youth School, where I'm the music teacher and the curriculum coordinator. But my full-time position is at the Jubilate Orchestra, and this gives me an opportunity to work with Caymanians and young Caymanians who have a passion. Well, sometimes the passion is unearthed through the Jubilate program, and that's me, one. But I've been teaching music for more than 22 years, so that makes it even more passion for me. Studied at Berkeley Music College. I've worked with a lot of Grammy Award winning persons in gospel, Chicago Mass, Georgia Mass Choir. I've worked in jazz, Professor Alton Morell, Professor Melvin Butler. These are Grammy Award winners, just to name a few. I've gotten the opportunity to work on an album in LA, where Stevie Wonder was one of the persons who would have in the listening room to critique the production of the album. So I've done quite a bit musically. I've also worked at the UCCI as an adjunct lecturer for a couple sessions there too. But
So why
go ahead.
So why you be hiding yourself? And that's one of the reasons why we have Cayman Conversations, because there's so much talent and so much stuff being done in the Cayman Islands that we don't know about. And I'm learning every day these great things. And I have only until I got reconnected with Hannah from
Yeah.
Jubilate. That was when I realized that there was Cranston Forbes. And like, you've been here a while and we haven't been hearing your works, but probably haven't seen the result, have seen
Yes.
the results of it. Tell
If,
us
if, if
what
you
has
have
happened during the 9 years.
if well the funny thing is if you ever once listen to the Singing Christmas Tree, I am the musical coordinator for that. I work with the choir. I teach a choir every year. So but for Cranston Forbes, I'm not the type of person who likes to be highlighted, because my aim really is always to impart what you the knowledge you have. One thing I've said to students: no matter how much knowledge you have and you don't impart it, that knowledge dies with you. And
Yes.
one of the things I've also recognized, because I've always been doing musical research, I've done musical research with the Boston Music Conservative, looking at how to teach kids music with kids with disability music. And it dawned on me while teaching these students, very rarely you find music educators or in the research field that can help to shape or change certain methodologies and pedagogical approaches that we now presently use. Because indeed, most of these approaches are from the way 1300s or 1600s. And all of these things come from Europe. There's a new methodology that is in the United States, but we are finding every country or has a very unique way of learning things, but we have not really put these research out to so that it can be a part of the game and part of where other researchers can put it into practice.
Yes. And I'm a lover of music. I grew up in a family. Everyone played instruments. And DJ in the island. Um, my kids play music. And there's so much talent in the Cayman Islands for music. And so I really applaud you for putting all the efforts and your talents into developing our people. And I will applaud Jubilati for having an after school program as well,
Yes.
for find beneficial things for our and positive our kids to do. So just tell me, how does the music relate to Jubilati?
Okay, now Jubilati, the music is just one aspect of Jubilati.
Okay.
Jubilati also helps them in with schoolwork. We also have a spiritual side of it, trying to maintain the culture that was has been in the Cayman Islands, and trying for them to continue that culture. One of the things I've recognized, and what we try to do, because music is seen as a second language, sometimes it can be difficult for students to read these music. Just imagine you trying to learn a second language yourself.
Yes.
It takes time, but sometimes, and some of the principles are not geared towards the culture of the society. And we
Yes.
thought, one, we needed to help them to um, understand the very things that the words that they use. For example, bubble can become a rhythmic pattern. And if they can use these normal languages that they use on a day to day in learning the music, similar to reading it, then it becomes easier. So, what we try to do there at Jubilati is to use the principle of the six language development one, where students learn best with things that they hear most. So what are they? How do they talk? What are the words that they use? Utilize these words into helping them to learn the musical scores. And we have seen where students are performing above their grade level. So students from in year 4 are able to play pieces that probably an 8 and a 9 grader is normally used for them to play. And we use both the British system and the United States system for note reading, and we find that they are excelling that quickly.
Okay. Excellent. You just recently returned from Buffalo, New York. It is, or
Yes, sir.
Buffalo University. Could you expound some more on that trip and what you achieved over there?
I'm a part of the New York State Music Theory Association. These are all educators who have done some research, and most of these are professors in the colleges in the United States. So, for example, one Ivy League college like Cornell University, the guest speaker was Benjamin Pickett. Now they do a research call on the theme music and language all across the world, and they had over 2,500 entries. My research, which is what we use here at Jubilati, was accepted, and the total entries were 24. So I've beaten out quite a lot of people all over the world.
Yes.
Uh,
Very
so
well.
they invited me to come and present, because what they how this process happens. Even if you teach at a university, you have a body of researchers that will come together to look at your research, to want to see if your research is new and is something worthwhile presenting to a music symposium, where we can one, publish such research to as and it gives you international recognition and also titles, which I don't go by. Um,
Yeah.
but my interest was to put the Caribbean people into the world and to the areas of research. So I went and present, and the research was accepted. In fact, I've been now invited to come to a lot of the different universities to present
Yes.
on this research, because they too are having the same challenges that our students at Jubilati faced.
Okay, I see. Can you explain a little bit what research means for those listeners who just joined us and just trying to understand research? What is it? Is it are you performing? Are you presenting your performances or your writings? What is research?
Research is to look at an area that seems to be challenging, look at to see whether or not there are other scholars who have present work on such areas. So, for example, in the Cayman Islands, while teaching the Jubilate Orchestra, we recognized that the students were having challenges reading. Everybody loves to play an instrument, but they just don't want to read it because it becomes so difficult. So what I've done is to look at this and then come up with methodologies as to how we can approach it to see to help these students learn. So we do the methodologies, we do surveys, do diagnostic tests to see whether or not the students are improving. But it must be based on something. So the abstract was based on the 6 principles of language development, and utilizing these 6 principles, using familiar words. How can we bring the Cayman culture into focus? Because in fact, when the students are doing Tata Titi, that's from a French country and more European country. And not only that, some of the kids will not want to do it because in our Caribbean settings, those things have different meanings. So we look at all of these things, and then utilizing these approaches, we you give the students to see how well they understand the concept. So we utilize introduce folk songs. So most of our presentations, we will introduce a folk song, because the history and through the research has shown us that if the kids sing these and play these from in the primary school, then these heritage and these things that we want to maintain will continue with them throughout their lives. So that's what we did.
Very interesting.
So, yes.
Very interesting.
So what we did, go ahead, I'm listening.
You continue.
Okay, so what we did, we looked at diverse situations and diverse things, have them utilize these rhythmic things. We also did a survey to see, one, whether or not the students think they have learned using these principles. So from the survey, we come up with an analysis. The steps that we took, that I took in doing the research, all of that is in a document, more than 5,000 words and at least 30 pages. So that was presented to the panel of scholars, and the panel of scholars now will went through them to see whether or not, one, if the concept that I'm bringing forward makes sense, is it workable, and what did the your questionnaires that you have given the students, what made sense, and then we in the symposium they would go through question all of these principles. Fortunately for me, all of these persons, and they were from all different countries around the world: Yemen, South Africa, Brazil, Mexico, all across the globe. However, all of these presenters were having the same challenges that I had. But I was my research helped to guide the process a lot better. So everyone thought that the research is meaningful and worthwhile going forward, and even having it on a larger scale, where the teachers are music teachers, music educators can use these principles within their own unique environment.
That's all right. That's all right. Very interesting indeed. Very interesting indeed. We started the program with some 2 pieces of work.
Yes.
Many of the listeners probably wouldn't know what they were. Could you just elaborate on them for those who are waiting to hear, who were playing those lovely pieces of music, and what the pieces were and who taught them? Give us some background into that information.
Wonderful. No, all the pieces were rearranged for the uniqueness of the program, because what we do not do at Jubilate, and these are all kids from year 7 all the way up to year 15. At that time that you saw those kids were like 13. So from 7 to 13, what we did, we do not require you to be skillful, because everybody can be trained to become a musician, and we want not just to have them to be a musician. We want them to see every step as an achievement. So the Jubilates, these are all the students from Jubilate. The song, first one I think you heard was Under the Sea. So we arrange it that even if the student knew only 3 notes, they were able to play along as a group. So we arrange the music based on their skill level, so that they can feel a sense of being a part of. The other one was Walls, and I think it's Canon, if my memory serves me right. And this is a classical piece, a very technical one, but at the same time, because we have quality educators, Mr. Victor Heeman, he is in the school system, in the primary school system, and we have Mr. Boris Reed, who does vocal and voice, but he also helps in the music. I am the person who does who has the overall responsibility of arranging and working with the students to ensure that they learn it. So what we have seen, this is when we just started to introduce the program. So this is the first year when we introduce it. Listening to them now, they have grown leaps and bounds. And even though you probably hear this and you say, "Oh my, they're sounding lovely." Now we have a final concert June 7th, and all we're doing is playing Cayman folk. We have classicalized the Cayman folk music, put some twists on them, and the idea is to keep the heritage alive, and it's going to blow all the persons who come to the presentation their mind. And these are young kids. In most of the cases, none of the students are above primary school.
And this is so important because I remember growing up in school. We went up about reading music and writing music. That's not something that we can attain to, but here you are creating music to simplify it, to make it a lot easier. So I know that I probably wouldn't have many kids listening to this program, but adults or the parents who want to get the kids involved in something just like this can see that, okay, here's where we can make it happen in the Cayman Islands. Because I do believe that we have a lot of talent in the Cayman Islands that needs to be developed, taught, and educated and promoted. And we bring a lot of artists here, but we do have talent here that we need to embrace. Speak to musical talents in the Cayman Islands.
There are so many musical talents. I've always said, and for the time that I've been here, it cannot be one size fit all. It is where all, how would I put it, the media plus the music association, the school, the teachers association coming together to give student opportunities. One of the things I've been saying, it's not only about playing the music. When I was I've been in Berkeley and even in Buffalo, one of the things we found is that even being able to arrange music, you're able to go into movies. Your music can be in shows because there is always some classical arrangement or some element of music. So the opportunity to be in music is not just in performance. And in some cases, as we talk about all the time, having your music in advertisement, having your music in shows, having your music even in the airport, that is perpetual income. So we talk about that. In fact, I remember after the presentation, the head of music, Benjamin Pickett at Cornell University, he was so impressed with what he heard, and he was asking, "How can we get these Caymanians to come to our school?" And this is an Ivy League school,
Yes.
because he's saying what they would have already had the foundation of reading music and even the technical ability. It wouldn't take them a lot to get them to be in a position where they can be budding music specialists around the world. So there's so much here on island. It's just to tap into it and also to guide them, to let them see that there are many different avenues to music publishing, writing. Just by writing and understanding how to write or create a melody line, we were talking about that. People get money and perpetual income just by writing probably just the chorus of a song, and they don't have to write the verse. But that perpetual income would be there until they die.
And you're giving me goosebumps as you speak, because we are always talking about employment opportunities for Caymanians, people here. What else can we do? It's not all about banking and being a lawyer. There's so much talents that are untapped and so much opportunities. And here I'm hearing that universities would welcome having someone from the Cayman Islands who have those talents come out there, and there's so much other opportunities that they can get besides just being a singer on stage and performing. You can actually rearrange, you arrange, you can actually produce, and you could actually lay down tracks that can generate income. So you could work
I,
from home.
I give you a joke, not to interrupt, but I remember teaching at Grace, and teaching the years 11, 10, and 11. We did music production, and one of the students who was into rapping, he did a production, put it on YouTube, and he was got over 1 million views because he connected to somebody else who was from LA, and he was earning an income up from that while still being in school. So
Exactly.
there's so many avenues now that would allow for students to and young people to gain thing. What we try to do at Jubilati is to give them a complete what would I say, make the experience complete. So they not only learn music, we want to ensure that they have some educational part of it, and also to give them that spiritual element that can guide them and let them be more effective in today's society.
So what you're saying is how to develop the person
Good.
as
The
well,
total
to
man.
develop their musical talents,
Yes.
and that's such a perfect balance, and I applaud, and I keep saying this over and over again, with this, I just started Cayman Conversations about maybe 6 weeks ago, and the information, the knowledge I've gained by coming in here and having conversations with people such as yourself has educated me, and I'm sure it's educating the public who are listening. And
Yes.
these shows are be available on Facebook and YouTube for people to go back and look at it. Maybe a year from now and hear, okay, I want to send my daughter or son to Jubilati to learn these skills, because this is a positive development, a positive foundation that can help them in their future lives. And so my next question is to you: how important is music in school to the Cayman Islands?
Let me first say kudos to all the music educators who are in school, trying to give the students an avenue to express themselves. There's so many benefits that it blows one's mind. And I remember that there was a TED Talk video that speaks of how when the musician is playing and reading, it just doesn't use one side of the brain as we would normally do in other situations. It uses both sides of the brain. So indeed, it increases one IQ. And they will tell you research. There's so many research that tells you person who studies music professionally will also always have a second or third degree. So for example, I don't like to talk about myself, but I have a degree in accounting, but I did not want to go into an office. I thought that it'd be easier for me to impart on the young minds. So it increases language development. And there are so many research that shows how important music is in teaching somebody to speak, and especially learning a second language. It gives self-confidence,
Yes.
and
Yes.
because one, you have to you have to be on stage, and it gives you that confidence, and it makes you more disciplined, because music is a discipline where you have to be consistent at it in order to be efficient and effective. It increases the motor skill, and motor skill, of course, every educator will tell you the importance of having your motor and your cognitive skills develop even as a young child. Music does that. So even now, there are new research that is telling us the importance of starting kids learning music from an early age. And indeed, we were doing that before, because we were, as a mother and a father, you're singing nursery rhymes to them,
Yeah.
rocking them to sleep and singing to them. Those are things that was happening before, but the research are proving how important it is. Then it improves one's listening skill, because for you to really be effective, you have to be listening to what is happening around, and how what you're playing complements and enhance what is happening. And it deals with teamwork. So a person who's a musician, being in an organization, the person doesn't have to worry, because they're a team player. So these
Yes.
are some of the things we're trying to develop in our students. So even if you don't select music in an organization, that organization will find you to be effective, because you are somebody who works with a team, and it also enhances your social skills. It helps with self-esteem, and also as a musician, you have great organizational skills, because it takes one to be well organized to play a complete set in any presentation. I hope
And
I didn't talk too fast.
no. As a matter of fact, you're not talking enough. there's so much, there's so much things that I know you can say
Yeah,
about music, because we'd have to have another conversation on that another
indeed.
time, because I understand that music was in our genes.
It is.
Our ancestors, embrace music. And when you look at our ancestors, where they came from and what happens today, has is all surrounded by music.
But and it just shows you that. And this is where even the research is coming from. You teaching the students from their ancestral way of life, which is where we talk about folk. It helps them to understand it better because it's a natural instinct, because it's an innate thing. I was doing a workshop over the weekend, and I was telling them one of the things about music. Music pass your intellect and go to your will. Just think about it. If you're listening to the radio is playing and the music is happening, you find it nubbing and bobbing your head without even recognizing that you're moving to the music, because it moves from your intellect and it will will you to do things. And I remember even in the university, it tells you how important it is the way you even our ancestors used to beat and thing. I think Dr. Cooper did one of a study of that at UCSCI in the Black History Month, by playing the beats, how what it evokes from the ancestral or ancestors. So it is here in music. So this the power of music is not only, and I teach it from us. It's not only physical, but it's also spiritual, because indeed it came from God, and if music came from God, then it must have a spiritual connotation to it.
Yes, very well. Well said. Well said. Uh, can I invite you back another time for part two?
Anytime, anytime. I enjoyed the conversation. I did. Yes.
Yes, yes. All right. I know you said that there's going to be an event happening very soon at
Yes.
Jubilate in June. Just give us some details and times and so on, and location, please.
Right. So every year we have a year-end concert. Um, the year-end concert is at the Cayman Islands Baptist Church. This year it's June 7th. We try to do it because remember now these are all students and some are in grade 6 and you have graduations and stuff like that. We try to do it before the graduation. So it's June 7th. It's a Wednesday. We begin at 5:30. You will what we are this year we're having a classical meet folk, and we're going to showcase the Cayman folk song, but we're going to put them in a twist that would blow your mind. We have already done the arrangements, and what we're trying to do is to give the students something that they can say, hey, when I was here in 2023, we were able to do this, and we can have it on the archives, and people can say, okay, yes, this is what we do, because that's what the forefathers used to do. Even in Europe, they used to take the classical music, the folk songs, turn them into classical. Now we have them this in 2022, read them as classical music from way back. We want the Cayman it to be also a part of Cayman's culture, where people in future years can read this music to say, yes, this is what used to happen in the Cayman Islands. So it's May 7th, 5:30. Come out at Cayman Islands Baptist and you will have a grand time. I'm looking forward to seeing you too. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
I'm putting in my diary right now. It's June 7th. We'll make sure we're there to cover it as well, and
Yes,
publish an
sir.
article in the newspaper, Cayman Times.
We're looking forward to
So,
that. And thank you so much for your continued support. I like this thing. Finally, before I go, I must say thanks to all the schools, because the students who come to us, they come through the school and the school counselors, because that really want to have that connection, so that they know the students and we are trying to help them so that we can make Cayman students have a way where they can express themselves musically, spiritually, and also have an opportunity to continue to do academics.
okay, very well. Well, Mr. Cranston, we want to thank you very much. And for all listeners and Bobo, this is music from our children as we close out this section. Some music from Jubilate. Good
Thank
night,
you.
Pastor. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
National Roads Authority wishes to notify the public of significant changes being made to improve the safety and functionality of the Grand Harbor Roundabout. To optimize traffic flow and enhance public safety, from June 2023, motorists will no longer be able to turn onto South Sound Road or Crew Road via the Grand Harbor Roundabout when exiting the Grand Harbor area. Those leaving Grand Harbor will need to travel up along Shamrock Road and circle the next roundabout if wishing to travel west. With the number of cars on our roads increasing and with the congestion seen on a daily basis in the area, the decision to close this exit was made to improve public safety and reduce the risk of collision. The NRA wishes to thank the public for their understanding and cooperation as we continue to work to improve the safety and development of Cayman's roads.
Good afternoon and welcome to my friend Festa. Craig, as you know him, Craig.
The world for a day.
How are you, my friend? How are you, my brother?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Getting ready for the most awesome carnival Cayman has ever experienced. Cayman's Carnival, July 1st.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you for taking time to, spend a few moments with me today on the Cayman Conversations. It's about talking with different people from all walks of life. And, I know you're from a long way back, and you're the man for Carnival, for Cayman. And also, I'm hearing that you're not going to be the man for Swanky soon. Tell me more about this, man, friend.
I'm sure we will get into that, but I did have a quick question for you.
Go right ahead.
If I have people, especially overseas, that would love to be able to tune in right now to this very gracious interview. How can I let my people know where to go right now? See what's going on.
Okay, Caymanian Times on Facebook. Caymanian Times on Facebook. If you go, you click on the intro. It's happening right now. It's live. Caymanian Times. CAYMANIANTIMES. Oh, Caymanian Times on YouTube as well.
All right, let my people know.
Yeah.
So this
we'll be having a rebroadcast probably tomorrow, because it's a real good show, and we had some difficulty with some of the radio situation today, but that's all right. We're here to make it happen.
Awesome.
So Caymanian Times, Facebook, and they'll be tuned right into you. Okay.
All right.
Yes,
so
my friend. How are you doing?
Let's get down to business.
Yes. Great stuff.
No, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me on to the show to be able to, give my little 2 cents on where we are, where we've come from, and what is the situation. Personally, I have been involved with the organizations running carnival bands in the Cayman Islands for 20 years. I've been a part of the amazing culture of carnival, and it's been it's been my life. I mean, this is what I've done pretty much for my whole adult life. Bringing the joys of what carnival brings to the masses, and being a part of the revolution of carnival in the Cayman Islands. I can say when I first started this back in 2006, 2007 was my first carnival as Swanky International. The carnival on the whole was, lack of a better word, very small. The participants we maybe had, and you can attest to this because you are the great DJ Ralph.
I was on some of those trucks, man.
100%.
Yes.
The carnival's grown from where participants we maybe had 400, 500 people in total on the road to what we now experience as carnival in the Cayman Islands. Again, when I first started out, I always tell the story. I remember filling out that first registration form where a large band was 60 people. And the fight that we went through to convince people that, hey, listen, You forget we are the most Caribbean island because we are the most central in the Caribbean Sea. And it was about being able to take Carnival to a different level when I first got into this.
Okay.
Um, I love telling this story about one of the pioneers of the development of Carnival over the years, um, Joel Francis. We had a conversation the week of Carnival back in 2007. Joel's like, so what's your intentions with this? Why are you doing this? And I told him, my goal was to see at least 400 people on the road with Swanky International. And Joel's like, bruh, no, that will never happen in your lifetime or my lifetime. That will never happen in Cayman. And I was like, well, we'll see. And I can proudly say I crossed 400 a long time ago. And it's about being able to give the same level of experience right here in Cayman that you can get anywhere else in Carnival.
Okay.
And
So one question. So Swanky is the mass band that you created, not the carnival.
not the Carnival. So Swanky
Okay.
International and KMAS are two separate entities.
Okay.
KMAS Carnival
So okay.
is the overall carnival, whereas Swanky International is the a band, a one of 13 entities
Yes.
involved
Okay.
in Mass Carnival this year.
Yeah.
But
Just to explain to our listeners. Yeah. Just yeah.
100%. But I will say this: there's only one person, one person in this world that has both tattoos on their body.
What? Who's that?
Swanky International,
Okay.
Mass Carnival.
All right. All right. All right. Okay. We got a we put a patent in that, right? Okay. So tell us about Swanky and where Swanky is going first, and then we get into K-Mars after.
Sure, 100%. Swank International is 17 years of carnival in the Cayman Islands, and I feel like a proud parent of what we've been able to accomplish with Swank International. It's still right now, and I'm hoping that I will be able to say other bands in the same breath. But right now, it still is the only carnival band that has done over 600 masqueraders on the road for Cayman.
Okay.
It it has been a melting pot of different nationalities, and not even just Caribbean nationalities, but anyone that loved the carnival aspect, the energy, the color, the vibrance of carnival. We welcome with open arms. So it doesn't matter whether you're a white accountant at KPMG from Canada, or whether you're a college student, public works worker, bank teller. On that one Saturday afternoon, we are all one. We are all part of the Swanky family, and that mentality has been the driving force in the growth of Swanky International over the years. And honestly, as I said, 20 years of doing carnival bands, I came to the point where it was that time. It was that time for me to pass the feather costume mantle onto the bands that are now coming up, that the band leaders that are now taking the risks, taking the passion that I've had for so many years to carry carnival in the Cayman Islands to that next level. So it's as I said, it's real simple. I just felt it was time for me to step away from that aspect of it, and to touch a little by stepping away with Swanky International. It has given me it will give me the opportunity to expand even more Cayman's Carnival, because now I'm not split between the daily runnings of Swanky International and also Cayman's. I can now put my full energy in the development of the Carnival product on a whole.
So will Swanky go away, or someone's going to take over your role in Swanky?
Well, we'll see in the coming weeks. Honestly, right now I can't say yes, I can't say no.
Okay.
But we'll see in the coming weeks. But I do know if it is taken over, it will only be bigger and better going forward and more impactful and continue to grow as I feel I've done year by year.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about. Thank you for all the time, and I think you've achieved a great feat by building a mass band to over 600 members in one group, and that's a real big, especially in the Cayman Islands. And but I have a question for you, which I always have to ask. And I've seen Carnival in Cayman progress. And I remember writing an article about maybe 10 years ago when I just launched my newspaper. And it was a picture of a lady in a bikini on the street. And the title was, "Is it a good time or bad behavior?" And so, so it was very interesting. And we got feedback from everyone. And but what we've learned was that carnival costumes have changed over time. And
Oh, no.
and some people say that Cayman is a conservative society, maybe not. But
Nah.
we're seeing some very sensitive costumes on the street. So is this the face of carnival going forward, or just letting people have fun?
Um, I honestly feel that, in order for us to continue to be or continue to grow the competitiveness to compete against other carnivals, we have to stay with what the global carnival market is putting out. And honestly, Ralph, again, and there you've been on the road, seen it all, the growth of carnival in Cayman. The mentality towards carnival has changed so much, especially over the last 15 years. I mean, where before, people, like what you say, people were so conservative and so concerned with what others would have talked around the water cooler on Monday morning after carnival. That
Yes.
that mentality, for the most part, has now gone by the wayside.
Gone away. Okay.
People are now starting to more accept carnival. I mean, when I'm on the street and when I have people coming up to me telling me, Craig, we can't wait for July 1st to see
Yes.
what K-Mass Carnival is going to put on the road. It's a very accomplishing feeling on knowing that I and Swanky played a huge part in the change of that mentality.
Yes. Okay.
You know.
All
And
right.
I'll also say this. One of the arguments that I have fought through my whole carnival career has been not arguments, but more train of thought that, oh, well, this carnival thing isn't a part of our culture. And my response to that, Ralph, has always been culture didn't end at 1960. Culture is an evolving thing, and it's about being able to embrace what we have done. And nobody can say that Badabino Cayman's Carnival is not part of Cayman culture, because it has been here for 2 generations. 40 years of carnival we have celebrated this year in Cayman.
Yes.
And I don't care what anybody say. That's more part of my culture than the heritage of rope making, turtling, even seafarers. I mean, of course, we have the utmost respect for that, but there's a huge difference between the development of the culture versus our heritage. So you best believe Carnival is very much part of our Cayman culture.
And you make a good point, and we just said that culture is dynamic because life is dynamic. The young people being born every day, and so therefore they have a culture. They're not gonna absorb or take on the old culture. They're gonna create of their own. The key is not to forget your older cultures, but embrace it and move on, develop your own culture. Let's talk about Kemas. When is
Cayman
Kemas? When is Kemas?
Cayman Carnival is almost a week full of events kicking off on June 28th, straight through to the holiday Monday, July 3rd. Um,
Okay.
we are so excited to be going into, let's see, um, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, our straight, seventh straight carnival. Even during COVID, Cayman Carnival still happened.
Okay.
And we are so excited about the numbers that we have involved with Carnival this year, the events that we have, the multitude of international acts, the international DJs or amazing local Cayman DJs or Soca Monarch competition. We are absolutely thrilled to be in the position that we are in right now to create what we're expecting to be the most amazing carnival experience on July 1st. The carnival itself, the parade is July 1st. Of course, taking the route that we've always taken with KMAS, starting in town by Eden Rock, heading to the Jewel of Grand Cayman, West Bay Road, Public Beach. And
Okay.
you know, as I said, the directors, all of us, we've been working so hard since last year, even before the end of last year's carnival,
Yeah.
we're working to make sure that everything is in order, all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted to make sure this carnival this year is something that people are going to be like, yo, this is it. And but as I said, we're excited. We have events going on from the Wednesday night straight through to the Monday, and it's a full blown proper carnival now, Ralph. I mean, full blown.
And it's on a weekend, so
Yeah,
I think it's on a month end as well. So you know, everyone should have some cash in their pockets,
100%,
just to have it come out and take on all these shows and have a great time.
100%, and it's a holiday weekend as well.
That's right. That's right. Give me an idea of the total amount of participants that you can remember in last year's carnival and what you're expecting this year.
Well, I would, if you're talking about the masses that we've ever had, the biggest one, because last
Yeah.
year we still were coming out of the whole
COVID.
COVID.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
But in 2019,
Yes.
we estimated we had close to 3,000 participants on the road with Cayman Carnival. And you know, we're hoping to surpass that. I mean, with the new bands on board like Wristband, Cayman is now on with Cayman Carnival, Dream Carnival, Rebel Unit is moved over. Of course, the Unruly Ones, Part of Animals with Fantasy Mass, Silent Mass, Renegade Mass is there, and we know they do their thing proper. Calabra is out there. Quintessentials with her. We are the only carnival in the world that has ever put a dancing pole on the road. all Quint. And as I said, the bands that are a part of KMAS this year, it's as someone that created KMAS to see where we are now. It's extremely humbling. Extremely humbling.
Yes. Well, I remember, you know, going to a meeting upstairs where there was a lunch landmark building. And I think you were there with the group. That was years ago. And you said, come on over, Ralph. We're starting
Yeah.
KMAS. They want me to write the story. I remember that meeting. And
Eh,
it's amazing to see where you and your group and directors have taken it, and I like progress. And of
Yeah.
course, we had challenges. We had the pandemic, but here you are this year planning for another big carnival for Kemas.
And I'll tell you what has been the key to where we've been able to get to the key to our accomplishments. We've been extremely organized. We've been extremely proactive, and it's all about business. It's handling it like a business and dealing with it like a business. And our directors over the years, especially this year, the chairman, Mr. Brant McLean, Wayne Kirkernel, Jermaine Sharp, Erica Moxham, Cindy Adams, and myself. The one component about all of us is that we treat this like professionals.
Yes. Okay.
And it's not one voice, but a collective voice of how we take K-Mass Carnival forward.
Okay. Well, we have some much more questions about Kemas, but I have a question to ask actually the organizer for Batmanu. Cayman has the most carnivals in any country in the world for a small island. Yeah, I think so. We have about 5 carnivals. Do you think there should be one carnival?
I honestly, I would do with one carnival a month. No, but
I get that. Tell me why. Tell me why.
Because of the joy, the energy, the pageantry of a properly done carnival brings.
Okay.
It's yes, there are 2 carnivals, but this is the way you have to now spin it. With us now moving out of the month of May into June, July, we've now created a summer festival for the Cayman Islands. Before, there was nothing in the Cayman Islands on a national level that happened between May and November. Now we are giving people another reason to come to the Cayman Islands during summer. And also, I remember many moons ago when I was in university, I never got the opportunity to take part in Badabanu because it was always at last week of college or finals week.
Yes. Yeah.
Now the students while in university are able to come home and be a part of K-Mass Carnival, and more importantly, bring their friends with them.
Yes.
So it's not looking at it as this is too much and all these carnivals. It's looking at it as we bring separate things to the table. We bring different opportunities to the table. And honestly, Ralph, if there's a market for it, why not allow the Cayman Islands to benefit from it?
And I appreciate what you've said. You are thinking outside of the box, and I welcome that kind of thinking. Yes, I mean, I thought that maybe we should have one carnival, but like you said, it's a whole year.
Yeah.
We need things to do in the Cayman Islands. Every holiday weekend, everybody jumps on the plane and go elsewhere because the complaint was there's nothing to do in the Cayman Islands.
100%.
But so by having 4 or 5 different events, whether we call them carnivals or not, that's a way of keeping people home and bringing more people here because they're leaving because there's boredom. They say Easter, there's nothing happening. The place is shut down. Christmas, the same thing. But here we are. We can have 6 different carnivals or 6 different events during the year that not only attracts tourists, but also helps provide entertainment for people to stay here and spend the money here rather than jump on a plane and go elsewhere.
100%. And I will expand on what you just said. When we were in May during the holiday weekend, which everyone's like, oh no, everybody travels that weekend. They leave the island. Why would you do that? The former government, the former Minister of Commerce told us that within within our second year of KMAS on that Discovery Day weekend, businesses saw a rise in their bottom line on that Discovery Day weekend because KMAS gave people a reason to stay right here and spend their money here. So again, it's and even more so, we had hundreds of people coming in to participate in our carnival, and a holiday weekend is the best option because it gives us more time to do
Yes.
more stuff.
Yeah.
So again, I try to, when I talk to people that come to me with that statement or that talk about, there should only be one carnival, this is my response.
Right. Okay.
Think
And
outside.
and well, like I said, and that's why we have the conversation on Cayman Conversations. I do believe in life, every individual person has something to offer. We
100%.
need to listen to all parties involved. We may not like what they say, but give them a chance to speak their mind. And you never know. You might learn something that you never thought about. I may see things in a different light. So I'm happy to hear that you have a different opinion and you explain the reason why. And it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense. And so that's great. So we're having Carnival in the next couple of weeks. Festivals is stepping down. What's next for Festa beside Carnival? Anything, any new things planned and exciting things?
Oh, I'm always about the excitement. um, that's why I've been doing what I've been doing for the last 20 years. But we are working on something. I am working on something. Don't want to quite spill the beans yet, and but I will say it still will be within Carnival. It still will be with the ultimate thing I've always been about, which is my little rock, being able to expand the exposure of Cayman and the people of Cayman. And I'll say this with regards to that. I've traveled the world of Carnival. I've been in carnivals all over this world. And people be like, "My goodness, Rod, you going to this carnival? You went to this one?" And I was like, "It's not going to these carnivals in order for me to enjoy myself. I go to these carnivals for the Cayman Islands. I go to these carnivals to spread the gospel of this amazing boutique carnival experience that we have created here in Cayman." And Ralph, I know you been in the soca industry for so long as well, have seen where you go outside of Cayman and you say anything about carnival here in Cayman. Usually back in the day, the first question was, Cayman actually has a carnival.
Yeah.
And I am so happy to be able to say now, when you say Cayman, oh yeah, carnival coming up sometime soon, right? Oh, and even more so, oh wait, you from Smikey International. So, to be able to see that journey of the past 17 years where people had no clue to now people booking to come and experience what the most awesome, special, precious boutique carnival. We dubbed KMAS as a boutique carnival, meaning we don't want to be the size of Trinidad or Notting Hill or even Jamaica. It's about that selective few where it's about quality over quantity. And we continue the board of directors, all of the bands or sponsors. Big shout out to Flo for coming on board as the marquee sponsor over the next 3 years, I want to say. Believing in the product that we have. Big thank you to the government for now stepping up to the plate to say we see the potential this has. We are ready to invest into the development of KMAS Carnival, and the sky's the limit. The sky is the limit.
Okay, I have a question for you before we wrap up.
Hundred-
I've looked in your band or your group, And I've noticed many foreign uh,
Yeah,
residents from overseas who have jumped in and joined in. How did you get them to take part in a brass band?
I love the
Uh,
question. Love the question. All right. Had to show some love to one of my very dear friends. Don't see her enough, but Natasha Casebolt, who used to work at was it Billy Bones? It was what it was called, the swim up
yes,
bar at Treasure Island.
yes,
Um,
yes. Mhm.
Back in 2007, my first year, I didn't have no bartenders. So I asked her if she would help me out for the road. And she's like, yeah, sure. So she brought her and two of her friends on that Saturday afternoon to do the bar for Swanky. And I had some spare costumes. So I was like, yeah, Tash, would you all get in costumes working the bar? And the three of them were like, hell no. And I was like, look, listen, okay, just go in the bathroom, try them on. If you don't feel comfortable in them, then I totally understand. Ralph, they tried on the costumes. They took off them costumes. Natasha said at about 5 o'clock the next morning. And that was the start. So they
Okay.
started telling their fellow Canadians and Americans
Mhm.
about the awesome experience. And next year we had, I think it was about 25, 30 on the road. And then
Yes.
just started going. And I also remember there was a lady that came in. I was 2009, around 2009, and she was like,
Yeah.
I've always watched the parade go by. I've
Mhm.
watched Swanky for the last couple of years, and I love the costumes. I would love to be a part of this, but I just don't feel like I'm able to be a part of this because I'm not from the Caribbean. And plus, I have no clue how to dance the soca when you are. And
Yes.
and Ralph, my response, and this is how I've been able to build the band to levels where there was 40% of the total participants were non-Caribbean people, expats. And my response
Wow.
are, well, look, at Swank International, we did this. We open our arms. You want to experience my Caribbean culture? Come, let me show you. Let me share with you what is, in my opinion, the most amazing product to ever come out of the Caribbean, Carnival. And also, it's that mentality that, we don't have Canadians on the road. We don't have South Africans, Italians, Americans, Caymanians, Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Bajans. On that road, we got people that love Carnival. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
And with the whole dancing thing, listen to me. With soca, Carnival, depending on the level of your anxiety, is how much liquid courage you need. And you know what I mean by liquid courage?
I know.
Once you feel that level of confidence, find yourself behind that sound truck, close your eyes, and whatever your body is doing, that's dancing the soca. That is enjoying carnival. That is being a part of my Caribbean culture. And it just grew and grew and grew.
Well, first, I wanted to encourage you to enjoy the next carnival. And if anybody wants to join your group or join your band or join Swanky for this year, how can they reach you?
This is the last week. Registration closes this week because, of course, everything is custom made, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no
yeah.
going to Walmart pulling the stuff off the shelf. Everything is custom made. You can register for Swanky International at swanky.ky. Um, for those overseas, we even have a travel company that will cater to all your carnival weekend travel needs. And that is WTFcarnival.com. And that's WTF standing for Will Travel for Carnival. So it's we are so excited about this year. We've added a new event that we've been in talks with the downtown restoration revitalization group about doing the first ever KMAS Food Fest on a Friday afternoon out on Cardinal Avenue. And it's going to be an amazing experience. You can also find all the information on KMAS itself at kmas.ky. And of course you can always find all of us on Instagram and Facebook. But the journey for me has been long. It has been challenging. It has been literally a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But Ralph, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't.
One thing I'd say in life: live what you love, and love what you live. Well, thanks, my friend. It's always a pleasure to have you here on Cayman Conversations. Probably close to Carnival, you might come on with the group from KMAS and have a conversation with us. But have a great day, and I'll see you next time. And to all listeners, thanks for joining us with Festa, the Carnival Trailblazer.
And thank you so much, Ralph.
Thank you for joining Cayman Conversations as we seek to elevate the level of media conversations with our special guests from our walk of life. Remember to like, share, and follow Caymanian Times social media pages. Don't forget to pick up your copy of our Wednesday and Friday newspapers at locations across the islands. Cayman Conversations is a production of the Caymanian Times newspaper. Have a great evening, and remember to drive safely on our roads. Goodbye.
I wanna love you more. A man looks to his woman, says I don't know what you see in me. You make me feel this way. Many years go by, we live, we laugh, we cry. She said, from the start you stole my heart. I wanna love you more and more. And don't you know I wanna love you more and more. Friends in a car, one says he's going far to make a better way. The other he exclaimed, I wish I felt the same. No matter where you go, I want you to know that I wanna love you more and more. And don't you know I wanna love you more and more and more. And don't you know, out there on the streets, strangers we will meet. We all have different views to show, but if we join our heads and hands to make a master plan, see the colors make a beautiful rainbow. Oh yeah, oh. Oh yeah, oh. What in the world have we come to? Whom this life should we run to? We all know the answer. Where's this gift of forgiving? Look at the life that we live in. I want you to know that I wanna love you more and more. And don't you know I wanna love you more and more and more. And don't you know, though we come from different sides, living different lives, ooh, that's okay. It's still the same old sun who shines on everyone every day. Oh, I wanna love you more and more. and more and more. And don't you know, I wanna love you more and more and more. Ooh, oh yeah, I wanna love you more and more and more. And don't you know, I wanna love you more and more. Ooh, oh yeah, I wanna love you more and more and more. Don't you know, wanna love you more and more and
Marcus Garvey said, watch it there.
Wheresoever you go throughout the world, the black man is discarded, is ostracized, is relegated to the lowest of things, social, political, and economical. This therefore presents a problem and one that must be solved.
Oh yeah, Black my story, real life story. Listen up while I count down Babylon. Black my story, don't try to stop me. 500 years under colonial plan. Emancipation, liberation through democracy. Long time we trod in freedom roads and still not free. Equal rights and justice for humanity. We want one God, one aim and one destiny. Black my story, not history. I come here to mash down Babylon. A black my story, don't try to stop me. I just this time in a Gideon. For the thieves, bloodsuckers and the wagonists, I'm here to tell you, say shadows will come to light. If you want to say your life, make your deeds positive. And no more sorry excuses are gone bye-bye. Good night, yeah. And now I lay you down to sleep. I know your mama weeps. I cry, yes, I cry. But that's the way we're living out here on the street. Black, black, black. Whoa,
You have to fight your way to it, whether you will or
black
not.
the story. Weeping and the wailing and the gnashing of teeth. Black my story, don't try to stop me. I come here suffering from down Babylon. Black my story, real life story. A judgment time in a Gideon. Discrimination, segregation and hypocrisy. Mental abuse and economic slavery. Equal rights and justice with morality. We want one God, one aim and one destiny. Unite, unite, yeah. Freedom fighters take the streets, no time to be weak. I cry, yes I cry. But Jah will take the curse away from I and I. Black, black, my story. Black is not his story. Black, 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 my story. Black is not his story. Black, 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 my story. Black is not his story. Black, 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 my story. Oh yeah, yeah. Black my story in misery. I come here suffering burn down Babylon. Black my story down in Milwaukee. I just this time in a Gideon. Yeah, black my story, don't profile me. I come here suffering burn down Babylon. I black my story, real life story. I just this time in a Gideon. Black my story, police brutality. Listen up while I chat on Babylon. Black my story, don't try to stop me. 500 years under colonial plan. Yeah, black, black, black my story, cause we should be free.
I wish I was a child again. I wish I was. When I was a child, happy to be alive. Before the evil days took away the youthful prize. When I was a child, they gave me no time. When I went astray, they put me back in line, back in line. I wish I was a child again, free and wild again, always climbing and inspiring. I wish I was a child again, a child again, child again. Let me swing on a limb, there I talk with my invisible friend, climbing a tree, swimming in the sea. The best things in life are always free. The best things in life are always free. The best things in life are always free. I wish I was a child again, free and wild again, always climbing and inspiring. I wish I was a child again, a child again, child again. Tell me it's okay to go out and play with the children of the day, with their magic height, basking in the light, taking flight, taking flight. I wish I was a child again, free and wild again, always climbing and inspiring. I wish I was a child again, child again, child again. I wish I was a child again. I wish I was child again, child again. Child again, child again.
Miss everything. Where have you been? Oh, I've searched for you my whole life through. Miss everything. Miss everything. Where have you been? Oh, I've searched for you my whole life through. Miss everything. She walks and talks the way I love. Miss everything. She's a special kind of girl, and I want her in my world, Lord. Make good love to me, make good love to me, make good love to me all the time. Miss everything. Where have you been? Oh, I've searched for you my whole life through. Miss everything. She walks and talks the way I love. Miss everything. She's a special kind of girl. Let's just let this love unfurl, Lord. Make good love to me, make good love to me, make good love to me all the time. Miss everything. Where have you been? Oh, I've searched for you my whole life through. Miss everything. She walks and talks the This every